go into this state that we do.
What? Sorry.
There. Light language is a higher frequency language. We can just go into this state that we do, and then it channels through. And let me switch. There. Light language is a higher frequency language. We can just go into the state that we do.
Laughing loud all for the love, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. He ain't no Saint Germain, no crown, no name. He plays the game sharp as a flame. Who's to blame for the stolen fame? A shadow dance in the devil's frame. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on a stripper pole. Laughing loud all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Fast, can't find the ground. Echoes of chaos all around. You chose this dance, this mad parade, but not every choice gets accolades. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Laughing loud all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Going down the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole.
All right, welcome to Not My Rabbit Hole. Today we are exploring and exposing Sarah Rachel Adams, or Sarah R. Adams, multidimensional life coach. For those of you who might not know who Sarah is, and by the way, if you are new to Not My Rabbit Hole, thank you so much for subscribing. Sarah R. Adams came forward. She did a lot of interviews on the Basis project with Miles Johnston, and she was known as a super soldier, or somebody who is was used in programs for the military to be a psychic soldier, doing nefarious ops. She has come out and said that she grew up in cages, or not grew up in cages, but they kept her in cages when she was abused by the elite. A lot of the conspiracies that you hear people say in the UFO media, or the conspiracy, the super soldier UFO conspiracy, it's an ongoing theme that the children with special abilities were kept in cages, and however, and we know that she was Max Spear's girlfriend for a long time, who was also a UFO conspiracy researcher. And, he passed away. And so there's a whole history surrounding Sarah Rachel Adams. But there's evidence that Sarah is pretty much a fake and a grifter. When I knew Sarah, I interviewed her a few times, but then when I heard that she was actually paying somebody $50 to do her high-end psychic readings for her with like famous people, which is like, we're going to get into that in just a second, because now she's done something with a celebrity. It's Steve Harvey, the comedian Steve Harvey, from the Steve Harvey Show and Family Feud and the Kings of Comedy. That's Steve Harvey. His son, who's apparently a fashion designer in the fashion business, and his model wife apparently were taking some psychedelics, more specifically mushrooms. And we're going to get into that here in just a second. Now, the National Enquirer has covered the incident, and but we all know that it's Sarah. And apparently there's a lot of different videos circulating, a little bit being passed around of Sarah from the body cam footage of the incident that took place. And it was at an Airbnb in Florida. And why does this matter? Why does this matter? Well, because Sarah has, pretty much said that she's an empathic, intuitive, psychic healer, and has pushed some remedies from people that are questionable. One would be the med beds situation. And also, there was a time where she was giving a phony essential oils. I'm going to say essential phony because they said that they took it from the actual virus. And I don't even want to say what it is because I don't want to tip off YouTube about it. But, it was a flu that we all had to be in lockdown over. And right away, her and her manager at the time was Taj. They were pushing this essential oils to heal it, which had no medical proof at all. And it's these kind of things that Sarah has done that is unethical and potentially harms people. We'll put somebody in, could maybe be life-threatening to them, because when you are doing quack practices and you have sick people coming for your services, whether that be to guide you as a multidimensional healer, and you're going to do some psychedelics to have a shamanic experience where you're going to be the trip master for these people, and it ends up where the one of the people that you were doing this with ends up on life support for 3 days, then I would say that is some dubious and unhealthy practices in a media that we are all a part of. I'm not saying I'm a part of that media that grifts and does out fake spirituality. I'm in the media that calls that out, and that's why I do not ride a rabbit hole, because I think it's important to show the quacks and the wackadoos and the liars on YouTube that are actually damaging other people. And so I want to show a video that Taj, and this is the only clip I'm going to show, because I really haven't. I've seen other things, but I want it out of respect to other people who are really in possession of that footage and probably going to be using it for their shows, because trust me, this is just the tip of the iceberg of people beginning to expose what actually really happened. And so here's some footage on Taj Investigates, not investigated, and he titles it "The End of Sarah R. Adams."
Just turn the lock, open the door. Come on.
Master lock. Yeah. She's sitting in
Ma'am,
front
I
of the
need you to
door.
open the door.
I don't have a pin. Don't put it there.
So yeah, it's coming soon. Again, there's going to be much more revealed in terms of what happened or what took place with Sarah. Now, I have heard a lot of some of the footage. I mean, I've heard clips. Apparently, the footage, the body cam footage, has to be edited because Sarah was naked. During all of it, she was naked and screaming. And well, here, let me just read on how the National Enquirer depicted what happened. I'm going to pull that up here in a second, and I see that Aiken is in the chat, so it's always good to see you. Hi, Aiken. Every Aiken says every mushroom matters. That's right. Every mushroom matters, and every mushroom is not the same. And apparently this was a really super potent mushrooms that they ingested. And I also heard, but I have to actually really confirm that one of them might have been more of a synthetic form of it. I don't know if that really exists, but that's something that I heard come down the pike. But that's off the that's never mind. I probably shouldn't have mentioned that. All right. Aiken says sensual body oil rub down, sharing quarantine. That would cure everything. Absolutely true. If only. Now, maybe there were some people, during the COVID that they, made use of their time and did some essential body oil rub downs and had huge love sessions and lots of sex. Why didn't anybody think about that? It seemed like when we were in lockdown, people couldn't stand each other, and they're like, oh my God, I got to get out of here. I might not really love this person. We never thought about taking advantage and go, we can screw all day if we wanted to. Anyway, I think the lockdown was really great if you were an agoraphobic. It's like, oh, I didn't want to leave the house anyways. So, you mean I have to stay here? Okay, that's great. So I'm going to share the National Enquirer. Now, the National Enquirer, all right? And I want to point out a few things about the National Enquirer because the National Enquirer is kind of sensational about this. And I don't think the National Enquirer is really totally accurately reporting it. They're saying things like it was a drug and it was like a drug house, Airbnb drug house. Well, anyway, let me get to it. Let me just get to the article. Okay. So for those of you who don't know who Steve Harvey is, this is Steve Harvey. It's funny, some of you guys, that I'm friends with and also that tune into Not My Rabbit Hole, you're in from all different areas of the country. And, I'll say, oh, this happened with Steve Harvey. And they're like, well, who's that? But in the United States, Steve Harvey is, a pretty big star. And, he's right up there with Drew Carey or you could even put him beside Bernie Mac. All right. You can put him, he wasn't as big as a movie star as Bernie Mac, but he has, and maybe not quite as big of a movie star as Cosby ever was, but he's in that league here in the United States. So the article says, Steve Harvey angry after son, daughter-in-law have disastrous experience during a party-filled night. Now, I think that the headline, and of course this is the Enquirer, is really kind of incorrect. It wasn't, again, you could say it was a party-filled night, but I believe that to my understanding, the Harveys were actually a client of Sarah's, and they were doing a thank you very much. I'm glad you found that funny. The clients were doing, they were clients of hers, through her multi-dimensional healing website and her services that she does. They were clients, and here's the article. And they were, a lot of people in this media, and also let's say even people like comedians like Bill Hicks talked about doing mushrooms and the experiences that he had and the insights. You know, you can go to Carl Sagan. It's not Carl Sagan. That's the UFO guy. But it's there's one guy that is well known out there that always talked about, you know, how when you use these, you know, like ayahuasca and, you know, even cannabis and these different substances, that they are eye-opening and spiritual, experiences. It changes your perspective. You may meet entities. You may learn about yourself. It's like you go. The whole thing is about going on a vision quest. And you know, I have to admit, you know, I've tried it. I've gone on vision quests. I've you know, went out in the, you know, out in Lake Castaic, or not Lake Castaic, but one of the lakes up in Washington, and you know, had my friend make some tea, and you know, had this insightful experience 10 years ago. But sometimes these experiences can go bad. Let me see. I don't know why is this not moving for you? Okay, so let me make sure that's moving. Okay. Yeah, okay. So let's read a little bit. Let's read the article. All right. This is I guess I should say, let me change my banner to fair use here. Let me see. We are just educating the public of what happened with Sarah Rachel Adams. And so here it says the Funny Feud Funny Man. See, the Family Feud Funny Man. So it is Family Feud. The Family Feud Funny Man, Steve Harvey, is reeling after police responding to an emergency call at a vacation rental found his son and daughter-in-law suffering the dangerous effects of taking too many psychedelic mushrooms. And so they were in a vacation rental. It was an Airbnb. So yes, I guess you can call it a vacation rental. And it might be, maybe they made that choice because they didn't want to give Airbnb a bad name or affect their business, because, you know, people renting their properties and doing these kind of things in it. But to my knowledge, it was actually an Airbnb. I guess I'm not being very good at Airbnb right now. Okay, so according to the police reports, exclusively obtained by the National Enquirer, Jason Harvey, 34, and wife Amanda, 32, have admitted to cops in Jupiter, Florida, that they each downed a highly potent strain of psychedelic shroom called Enigma on October 21st, 2024 in an oceanfront Airbnb drug house. Oh, so they do mention it's an Airbnb. I think it's incorrect for them to call it a drug house because, you know, what is that? Like Airbnb is going to make a list and go, oh, we're a drug house. You know, you rent the drug house at Airbnb where you can do, you know, shrooms. No, I just don't see where it would have that name. But it says, okay, so an oceanfront Airbnb. That's the problem with the Enquirer. The Enquirer is going to sensationalize the information. So just keep that in mind. They weren't at a drug house per se. And it was rented in Jason's name. Harvey's wife and another woman were found raving and partially clad. So that again is, you know, well, I think that that's a little bit blown out of proportion, but that's my, you know, again, it's a National Enquirer. Leading to Jason's panic call for help, according to the police files that reveal Amanda had dangerously vomited while semi-conscious. Chilling police body camera footage. And really, when you're reporting something, I'm being a critic here. You really shouldn't add something like chilling or anything like that. You don't put an opinion of what it was. You just give the facts. And that's, again, a problem with the Enquirer. Chilling police body cam footage exclusively obtained by the Enquirer shows 4 police SUVs packed with cops approaching the locked front door of the 2-story vacation home, guns and tasers drawn, while a woman's terrifying screams can be heard bellowing from inside the house. And So yeah, and that is what we hear again. I'll just play it again for our own listening pleasure. That is what you hear in Tasha's video here. So let's just do it again, right? Let's play this video again. Why not? You're probably gonna hear a lot of people playing this, or you're gonna get even more footage. I'm pretty sure Truth Seekers is gonna come out with a big O expose soon on Sarah. So let's just play it here though.
Just turn the lock, open the door. Come on.
So, the article, I just read the article. It says they came up a team, like, so this is it. This is them coming in for the first time, like just how the article says.
Yeah. She's sitting in
Ma'am,
front
I
of the
need you to
door.
open the door. I don't have a pen.
Okay, and so it's coming soon. So yeah, like right now you're getting, and again, when you look at media, and I always tell people this, make sure that you look into different types of media covering a certain particular story, because as this unfolds, you will hear more about this, and you will be seeing more footage about this particular situation. Looking at something there. All right, so let's get back to the Steve Harvey article here. The Inquirer on the incident. So Steve Harvey's wife and another woman were found raving. All right. After fruitless demands to unlock the door, the officers run to the back of the house, where they find a shirtless and bleary-eyed Jason in pajama pants on a sprawling deck before an open sliding glass door. And so you saw that webcam footage. So this is them coming around here. My wife needs medical attention, he says, directing the cops into the house. Of screams. What's she on? An officer asks as they burst into the home. And they're probably just taking this right off of the body cam footage, is what I'm thinking. Because anybody can request this footage for, journalist purposes, all kinds of things. So yeah. What's she on? An officer asks as they burst into the home. Mushrooms, Jason confesses. One disgusted cop is heard dismissing the crib as the big drug house. So the cop says this is a big drug house, and again, that is an assumption by the cop. Who knows? It's an Inquirer. We'd have to look at the footage to see if he ever saw it. But I think it's really kind of like, if that's why they're calling this a big drug house, is because that's what the cop said. Then I kind of find that sort of exploitive. That's just my opinion. And while police redacted the images of what followed inside the house, an officer can clearly be heard asking a woman if she's okay and what she took. And another thing I want to point out too, that, again, the Inquirer could be doing is a little bit of racist bias, because I think that the media oftentimes wants to put Black people in drug houses and stories of drugs and things like that. So a little bit of a level of this might be happening media wise, and I'm just pointing that out as well. It's important to be media literate when you're looking at something. However, we do know that something did go wrong, and that Sarah has put people in danger, regardless of how the information at this point in the mainstream media has been reported on, the bias that has been reported through. My body is dying, the woman sobs after admitting she has taken Enigma. Cops also found another woman completely naked and nearly unconscious near the front door. I wonder why they were naked. That's a question. Maybe it was a party house. I don't know. Maybe Sarah was, using those essential oils that she didn't sell for the flu cure. During the redacted, blacked out portion of the video, a woman can be heard screaming repeatedly, help me, before screeching, no! Woo! According to the police report, Amanda later said the other overdosed woman acted as her coach in, see, here's the shamanic part, right? So they are alluding this as happening. Like, there he is right there coming out, Jason. So, according to the police report, Amanda later said that the other overdosed woman acted as the coach in battling dark forces. Jason also identified the woman to cops on the audio tape. Later, body cam footage shows a semi-conscious woman being carried out and placed on a gurney while paramedics raced to give her oxygen. Both women were transported to a local hospital, according to police report, and one's eyes taped shut, wearing a neck brace attached to a manual ventilator. And to my knowledge, she was on this ventilator for 3 days. At another point, a cop outside grills Jason, who is sitting calmly on the deck over whether he's done mushrooms, while a woman's piercing cries can be heard inside the house. When Jason admits that he has, the cop says, "You know, this just wasn't a good idea, right?" Steve Harvey, this is the comedian, he's going to comment here now, 68, is said to be mad as hell at the fashion designer's son, but believed that he and Amanda survived the potentially deadly ordeal. Steve's first reaction was anger, given Jason and Amanda are the parents of 4 young children, his grandkids, says source. But that's given way to gratitude. They're okay after the crisis that could have been far worse. And so it says Amanda later told police at the Jupiter Medical Center that she and Jason, the child of Steve's third Kurt wife, Marjorie, who he adopted, were working on a healing documentary. Okay, so not only were they so this was a project of Sarah's that they were doing, where they were doing a documentary. So they were filming this for a documentary as going through something by using the substance. So Sarah was acting as the shamanic master in this situation, and it went horribly wrong. So we're working on healing documentary about waking up past the system when the OD occurred. According to the police report, the former model told cops that they had invited over a shaman. That would be Sarah Rachel Adams. She's not, she's a bad shaman. She's a person that is playing with illegal substances and filming it for a documentary for a vision quest. And it went wrong. According to the police report, the former model told cops that they invited over a shaman the day before who provided them with a cambu and bufo, which sources say is a potent hallucinogenic mix harvested from the skin of toads and giant monkey frogs. I love that line. Potent hallucinogenic mix harvest from the skin of toads and giant monkey frogs. Neither Jason nor Amanda was charged in connection with the incident. Sources say none of their 4 kids aged 5 to 11 was present during the incident. The second woman also survived. It was not charged. Now, I'm not sure about that because I'm hearing that, and again, this is off the record. I mean, but I'm pretty sure that I heard from somebody who is investigating this that she was charged or possibly charged the next day or after she got out of the hospital. They ended up charging Sarah, and she fled Florida. Now, I don't know for sure, but that could be. And I believe I heard that. I think I heard that even Stephen Cambion mentioning that on his show. So that could be a bit inaccurate in terms of anybody being charged with something. He realizes everyone makes mistakes, but he hopes they learn from this incident and that something like this never happens again. And I think that this is really kind of like the Inquirer's way of or maybe even the Harvey's way of kind of just passing this off in some ways. I mean, I just find it interesting that they chose to call it a drug house and this and that, but then they come back and they say, oh, it was a shamanic thing and this and that, and they were doing a documentary about it. I mean, you know, if I were to write this article, I would have done it from the documentary point of view and completely cut out the party clad this and the drug-filled house, because I think that that's biased reporting and could be considered defamatory, like on purpose to make, you know, to be stereotypical and, be culture appropriation against Black people by the National Enquirer. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. All right. Oops. Get back to the comments. Freemason theater. Yeah. Funny. Hi, Oath Keepers. Off topic, but did you all see James Casbolt is an imagination podcast? Oh, I haven't seen it yet. Oh my God, we'll have to do a show on that. Thanks for the tip. I bet this isn't the first time Sarah Adams has been baked. No, I don't think it's the first time. Steve Harvey, Black Eye Club. Oh, yeah. And again, there's all those, like what happened to Bernie. We can do a whole show on that. I mean, trust me, I've looked into all of that situation. Yeah, it's and you know what? That's interesting that Steve Harvey has that Black Eye Club thing going on, right? And the you're mentioning the Freemasonic thing, the Freemason things and stuff like that. It's interesting that that Sarah's is like that they are her clients in what she's doing. So she's like right in there on that. Okay, so we're gonna take a really quick break. By the way, I want to play this song on my suno.com. I created this for Sarah. No, I would say created for her, but it's inspired by Sarah. And so I made this song like maybe a month ago when I was, updating on things that Sarah was doing stuff between Chaz and Brian saying and things like this that was going on. And I put the mushroom thing in this song. Nobody noticed it because, I knew this had happened already. And I was even talking to a friend of mine. I was saying, look, this is going to get out. I go the mainstream in the mainstream media, when they find out that this happened to a celebrity like Steve Harvey, I said the mainstream media, and I guess really the Enquirer is a rag magazine, but it's still a mainstream magazine. So just to put that out there, but it's got a large circulation. So I knew that once this got picked up, heck, TMZ could have done something like this on it. They didn't, but the minute this kind of thing when something goes wrong with a celebrity's family in this kind of magnitude, I go, it's going to come out and it's not going to look very favorable on Sarah. And so I had actually the lyrics of this song, I'm already saying what took place.
Sarah the psychic, intuitive healer, the shroom dealer squealer. She almost died. But Sarah lied. No empathy for the past.
Wait a second. All right, that's a second one, but I turned my here. There I am. That's I mean I did two songs. I might play the second one, but I kind of took the share off on it. Let me see. Yeah, okay, yeah. All right, so I'm back now. I want to spend a little bit more time on Sarah here for a second. Before I do, let me see what has Aiken said. Is it mushroom frogs and toads? Same strange African recipe. Thanks to all you guys exposing these shameful grifters, conning people out of money. Sarah needs to be put in the nut house. She is dangerous to others and herself. Yes, she is. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that you saying that you appreciate us exposing her, because it needs to stop. It needs to stop. And Sarah has done a lot of other things like cyber stalking people and calling CPS, trying to get people's kids taken away from them, making lots of threats, having people like Brian Singh come and, threaten Taj and basically almost threaten his, pretty much threaten his life. She has had fake lawyers go after Stephen Cambion. I mean, I could go on and on about things she did to me in terms of cyber stalking me and, using fake accounts and making nasty pictures and accusations. Like Sarah told people, or she came into my chat one time and said that I R'd her. I threatened to R her. I threatened to sexually assault her. And then she went to other hosts to try to get them to do a story on me. And I know this because they told me that she had asked them. In fact, I'll just say who it was. It was Stephen Cambion. She went to Stephen Cambion and tried to get Stephen Cambion to do a show on me, saying that I had threatened to sexually assault her. So that's the kind of dirty lies that Sarah does to sabotage somebody's reputation for calling them out for this. For being another media person like myself, and this is just in my situation, she will attack your character if you show actual receipts of her grifting and can prove that she's a grifter and that she's a fake and that she's a danger to, her business that she does, her now she's a multidimensional life coach, whatever that is. But, you can imagine what it is, taking people and making them so that they can, have their life coached in the new age cosmos, all of it. You know what I'm talking about. I mean, it's not against the law, I guess, to to be cult-like and create phony spirituality for people and take them on a trip because you're just greedy and you need more plastic surgery or something. I mean, I guess that is, legal, but when you're, filming a documentary, you're filming somebody doing, using an illegal substance so that you're going to show how they're going to find multidimensional enlightenment, and they're on a ventilator for 3 days afterwards. That's a big screw up. That means that you're a hazard. That your business is a hazard to others. Perhaps they shouldn't be hiring you for your services. Just saying. I certainly wouldn't, if I were going down a list of wanting to have a spiritual, vision quest, in a healthy and safe environment, where, because really, when you are working as a shaman with somebody, this is what happened to me. My trip master did not trip, because if you're the trip master, you're the one who isn't taking it yourself. You're the one who stays okay, so that you can be administering to the people that are doing, the vision quest. That is a responsible trip master. And Sarah, unfortunately, partook herself, and that was a big mistake. And the potent aspect of it, the level of what that was, there's so many things wrong with what happened that night that I mean, I could probably spend a much longer show on it, but I'm not going to. So, but there are things too, like Sarah. I got I'm seeing a lot of screenshots of things that she's posting and whatever. But I'm just going to highlight a little bit of something that I have here and read it for a second. So, we had another break-in last night. Luckily, I'm divinely protected. My roommate chased off the person who walked into our house and later knocked on the door. This morning, there was a weird man sitting in an older car on our street, acting weird, and I got messages from one of Tahinder Gill's crew. So now, and again, the fact that she's going to Tahinder Gill's crew, like, I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't throw me in there with this crew, just like David Shurter throws anybody that says anything that, criticizes him. We're all in a group. So again, Sarah's doing the whole tactic of Taj is the bad guy, and, it's Taj's crew. And I got messages from one of Taj's crew who is making baseless claims and threatening me nonstop, which again, a lot of times, like a lot of these kind of personalities or people, right, who are guilty of something will project their own thing on somebody, right? It's like they will accuse somebody else of what they're doing. Because if you look at Sarah's online behavior, this is the kind of stuff that she seems to, be focused on. They claim they have somebody watching me, and I'm sure it's the person who broke into my house last night. God, she sounds just like David. I'm working with the police right now, and the person named some names. So I don't know. Are you working with the police about like the overdose, Sarah? Like you're working with the police about this, but you're not working about, about the overdose. It's clear that Taj's group is trying to cause me physical harm, and he is friends with a woman that asked for my head to be chopped off in the past, and she has a history of sending people to where I lived after she had convinced them to cause me harm, and I have a lifelong restraining order on her. Taj is aware of this and has purposely become the woman's friend, and he has intent to harm me. Again, at some point, he will be facing some pretty dire legal consequences for all of this. Whoever supports him needs to get help. And so this is the kind of stuff that Sarah's putting out there, and she's quite similar to somebody else that we're going to transition and speak about. And that person is David Shurter. So before we get to that, oh, thank you. I thank you for saying that I look great. I appreciate that, Andrea, because I've been working on losing weight, and I'm just and I just to be girly, I'm kind of sweaty right now. So, but this, I'm kind of learning how to do like a beach wave on with a flat iron. So I kind of like I flat iron. Anyway, thank you. I appreciate that. It takes balls to do what you and Steven do, etc. Sarah's utterly disgraceful, but she has shown her true colors. Jail looms for her. Well done to all you truthers. The trash always wins. Thank you. The truth always wins, not the trash. Sorry, I gotta put glasses on. Sorry about that. Okay, so I wrote a song today. Actually, I think this is one of my better songs as we transition into a little bit of talking about David Shurter. And like, I know I compared him last time to Sarah, but they're all kind of the same, right? But apparently David has this going on.
He's a very twinkie guy, the kind you don't take home to mother. He will never let your pants down once you get him off the streets now. He's a super twink, a super twink. He's super twink. Guy is pretty wild now. The guy's a super twink, the kind of guy you watch on OnlyFans, yeah. The guy is pretty twinky. He's a super twink. He's super twink. Wow. He's a very special guy, the kind of guy you want to know on OnlyFans now. Donate to my PayPal because he's super twinky now. He's a super twink and super twinky. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Super Twinkie is the name of that song. And the reason why I'm playing it is because, it has come out. There's been some investigations into some things that David's been doing online, and he loves to follow twinks on X. And so there's all these, different, and a twink, by the way, just in case you don't know, is a guy who, is of age, right? He's of age, could be 20, 21, whatever. But he looks, and he's hairless. He's like a boy. He's like a 16-year-old. That's what a twink is. And I just want to bring this up to David Shurter, because David Shurter is telling people that I'm a porn star, which I'm not. Now again, you do know that I wrote on a couple scripts and blah 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 blah, and all this kind of stuff. But he says, oh, you make your living by being a porn star, and I am besties with Barely Legal, and also I'm partying in Vegas. Obviously you can tell that I'm not, but apparently that's all I do is party in Vegas with Barely Legal people. And let me just point something out about Barely Legal. Barely Legal is a hustler franchise. There is no Barely Legal in Vegas. There's only one in New Orleans. So David's got that wrong. So there's no way I could be partying there when a Barely Legal type of business or club or anything like that doesn't even exist, right? And let's think about barely legal. Like, it's barely legal, meaning that it's legal. And because there are laws, there are laws, like let's say in California about with the adult film industry that they have to abide by, show paperwork or whatever, showing that the person is of age in order to be in that particular production. That is a there. It's this, what's the difference between barely legal and a twink? See. What's the difference between barely legal and a twink, or people that like twinks? Because it's like barely legal is the same thing as somebody being 25 that can pass off as being 16, look like they're young, and basically a twink is 25 years old and meant to look younger. So it's really no difference. There's no difference here in it. The word legal with barely legal is still there. It says legal for a reason. It doesn't say barely illegal. So, when David is like this whole time been going, no, barely legal, like I've got a problem or something like that, when he is really the person with the problem who actually really desires something like that sexually and is online actually going after it. And so I just want to point that out about David. And like, I also posted something on my if you're following me, you might want to look at my post. I don't know if I'm going to get to it right now, but there's a whole thing of his response about it. He's been connected. Anyway, I could go on, but there is something that I want to do pertaining to David. And the one thing that really I think bothers me the most about David Shurter or people like Sarah Rachel Adams is that they put themselves on this sort of pedestal that they're somehow divine, they're somehow better spiritually, they're more advanced, or they bring God into the situation. And so and really a while, like I did a show about David a week ago, or I mentioned David or whatever, and there was a comment on my on one of the videos, and it chastised me for being a woman. Really, it said it was something like it quoted like Matthew 11:12 or something like that, how women are supposed to be submissive and not be talking about anything. They're supposed to be behind the man, and how we're not supposed to be wearing makeup and this and that and blah 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 blah. And I started thinking about, and he slapped in my face because how dare you say those things about the president and this and that, and this whole oppression against women, which is something that David does. David has actually come out and said that women are not as divine as a man is. And I thought about that scripture, and I thought about maybe who Matthew was, and what time that was written. And I guess during that time most of the writers were men, right? So obviously I just showed you the National Enquirer and how the National Enquirer can be biased, how it could like maybe sensationalize things because it might have a certain viewpoint, that they a stereotype, a bias, so they're going to report through those lenses. Who's to say that Matthew was not, like at that time it wasn't a patriarchal society, and Matthew is writing in the Bible, or what the Bible becomes, through a bias of a man. I mean, just hear me out on this for a second. Is it our fault at this point in 2020 that a man got published in the Bible and was re-edited over and over again through different types of editions with all the biases of those men that edited, that's going to shame women, and now you're going to tell me that that's a word of God? Somehow I don't think that God would actually really think that way, that actually would one of his creations that actually is able to birth and bring another life in the world with the help of with sperm and a man and everything else. Why would that soul living in that experience be less of God? Like, what about like Mary Magdalene? You know, Mary Magdalene was one of the 12, witnesses, one of the 12 disciples of Jesus Christ. And she, by the way, according, I don't know if she's been rewritten this way, and maybe she wasn't, but she was a whore. And Jesus still accepted her. And I'm pretty sure that Mary Magdalene had the ability to have prophecy and to go out in the public and communicate and say, he is the Son of God. So when you guys all want to sit back and say what women should be and should not be, I don't really think that you're in a place to say it. Even historically, you are living within your own biases about that. And so I really wanted to bring that up today, being that this person also supported David Shurter. Well, I'm wondering, Guy, whoever you are, I can't remember your name or anything like that, but what about his Twinkie thing? Do you think that's good in God? Or how about the fact that David Shurter sits back and bears false witness practically every day on his channel and breaks one of the 10 commandments? If we want to like slice hairs about what is okay in the eyes of God, I think me as a woman sitting here and pointing something out, I don't see where I'm less divine than somebody who's sitting there grifting on the network, on YouTube, spreading lies and basically harming somebody, harming a group of people, and again, putting them all in a group like Sarah Rachel Adams does in this, which she talks about Taj's group. So many groups out there, and so many these people that are perpetrators, both someone like Sarah and someone like David, both perpetrators are now the victim. So because David, one thing that really bugs me about David the most is when he prays. And because of that, I thought I like to, play one of his recent prayers and just, do some commentary on that. And what better prayer to show than one where he is wearing his Charlie Brown sweater. All right. Let's do it. And, yeah.
But with that said, I'm going to pray real quick.
Oh,
and then I'm going to end this. Father, Mother, we come to you.
Now, notice he does say father, mother, which, isn't really traditional. Like a lot of times when you say father, mother, you are acknowledging like a divine feminine, but it's, again, it's new age.
In all of heaven, calling upon all of the angels, I'm calling on all of heaven. Please let people hear my words and be compelled enough to actually look into the information that I'm presenting.
Okay, I like to forgive me. I would like to interrupt and like speak to God too, if that's okay. I would, and I'd like to like just say to God, David really doesn't. These people that he, like me, like who wants to investigate, like I do not traffic children. I know you know that, God. But so, and David, I don't know if you know this, God, but David has been praying like this to you on YouTube, and he is using it to abuse other people. I'd like you to be aware of that, God.
The way for evil to thrive is for good men to do nothing. And I don't believe that the world is mostly evil. I think there's a lot of us out there that are good. We just don't know what to do. So help guide us, if you would, please. Help.
And God, I'm wondering, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but is this like what is this what doing good is? Is this what doing good is? Like what David does, like just making things up and, calling people pedos when they're not. I'm just curious.
help guide me. I serve you willingly, gratefully.
God, is this serving you? Like, is what David Shurter does actually serving you?
Lovingly. You sent your son, our brother Jesus Christ, down, who taught us the word.
Is Jesus David's brother? I'm curious. And did he really teach David the word personally?
And lived a life that we are to emulate.
I mean, like, I know we all fall short, God, but I was wondering, like, is David Shurter like really emulating your will?
And I have done my best in my life in these 58 years to try and do my best to do what we were told. I think we're at the end. I think the ascension is.
Are we at the end, God? And does ascension, that terminology, have anything to do with you whatsoever?
Upon us. And I'm grateful that you're finally fulfilling your promises to us. And I say these things gratefully and lovingly in your son, our brother's name, Jesus Christ. Amen. And that's it. So check out the blog.
Okay. Actually, that wasn't like the there are much ones worse than that, but you know, we'll probably go on. But you know, I just feel like I'd like to ask God about how, you know, like how he feels, how about is David Shurter really working with you to abuse and attack people on YouTube? I'm just curious about that. Raven says he's spewing out programming. Oathkeeper says yes. Raven says worship energy feeds the parasitic consciousness that hijacked us. There's oodles of these folks on YouTube. Learn all about ascending and wow, semen retention from fabricated entities. Oh. Well, I've been going, you know, unfortunately, I have to do shorter shows. I am back in college getting my MFA, and whew, that's a lot. And I have another article that I have to finish on artificial intelligence. I was hired by the Collegian. I'm a senior reporter at the Collegian at Fresno State, and my beat is artificial intelligence. So I have my first two articles are actually on my Not My Rabbit Hole post. I did an article on my most recent one I uploaded is that we're doing a webinar series where the faculty talks about their use of AI, artificial intelligence, and its implementation into their curriculum and how I don't know how you guys feel about this, but AI is, you know, you're going to have to understand, the new generation is going to have to understand AI because it's going to be part of the marketplace, the job market. So they will be ill prepared for the future if the education on how to use it doesn't start happening now. And so my next article coming up, which I'm going to have finished by tonight, I have to have my first draft turned in on it, but I'm doing it, an article on AI and mental health. And there was a young man, 16-year-old, Adam Rains, who took his own life because of his interaction with ChatGPT. And there's a few things that ChatGPT and OpenAI does. For example, AI psychosis or the ELIZA effect, or algorithm cacophony. So these are terms that I'm writing about, and how, as people who are learning to use AI, because I'm sure you've seen this, where there's people that are talking to AI as if it's a companion, or as if it has some sort of spiritual or divine information for someone. Basically, with algorithmic cacophony, the chat box is designed to please the prompter. So it's going to agree with you and give you information just blindly, because that's how it was created. Now that this has happened, and there's a lawsuit by the parents of Adam Raines, there is a new, they're going to make it so parents can have access to their child's ChatGPT. And now it's programmed that if you are putting in things that sound like you are having feelings of harming yourself, or maybe even another person, I guess, there's going to have like safe holds in there, like there'll be be programmed to give you the 1-800 line for help. So things are changing now in the future. Raymond says it's not to be trusted, the machine god. Negative entities can't access AI, Raven says. And Oathkeeper says, saw the tech AI at NASA in the 70s, LOL. Yeah, it's not, it's mainly, I don't think AI is actually really conscious yet. It's just that the fact that it doesn't have a reference point or a judgment, it doesn't know that that's not safe talk from another human being. So when it gives instructions, it's this to the AI. It's like just giving instructions to about anything, because you just wanted to know. So there's an argument too that they released AI faster. They open AI. It should have been tested out more. They were in a hurry to release it, I guess, to get it out in the market and be competitive. And they didn't take into safeguarding these things. That's why it's important, just like having media literacy, to reading something and putting the, is this article biased? Where is this coming from? It's the same thing as understanding these new AI tools that everybody is using. It's not conscious, but it can be utilized by entities just like a Ouija board. Well, I mean, there is a theory that that entities go through electricity and stuff like this, that they are able to travel in those realms. So like, I guess there was also that movie White Noise that kind of was about stuff like that, happening. So it's there's a lot to explore and to research and find out what the truth is and everything. So before we go, let's just play one more moment of Sarah here, and this is just the beginning of exposing Sarah Rachel Adams. Here it is. The end of Sarah Rachel Adams, coming soon.
Just turn the lock, open the door. Come on.
The master lock. Yeah. She's sitting in front
Ma'am,
of the
I need you to
door.
open the door. I don't have a pin. Okay.
He ain't no Saint Germain, no crown, no name. He plays the game sharp as a flame. Who's to blame for the stolen fame? A shadow dance in the devil's frame. Caught in a rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on a stripper pole. Laughing Laughing loud all for the lows, but baby that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud all for the lows, but baby that's not my rabbit hole. Falling fast, can't find the ground, echoes of chaos all around. You chose this dance, this mad parade, but not every choice gets accolades. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud all for the lows, but baby that's not my rabbit hole. Laughing loud all for the lows, but baby that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Going down the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud all for the lows, but baby that's not my rabbit hole.